It's August 22nd, 1914, and World War I is just 2 weeks old, as the British forces are on their way to assist the French military in their defense against the advancing German army. Led by General Sir John French, the British Expeditionary Force, an elite military unit, soon arrived in the southern Belgian town of Mons. There, they would support France's Fifth Army, which was suffering heavy casualties and was on the verge of defeat. As they took up their defensive positions, they soon found themselves outnumbered 2 to 1. If they couldn't stop the German army, northern France would be lost. But as the bullets began to fly, France's Fifth Army unexpectedly withdrew from the battlefield, leaving the British right flank exposed and vulnerable. As the battle waged on, the German army was closing in on the British, forcing General French to give the order to retreat. Although his troops were exhausted, they fell back in preparation for the German onslaught. And it was at that moment, amidst the heat and the clamor of the cannonade, that the British knew the final surge was looming. The soldiers turned to each other with knowing eyes as the German noose tightened. Some dropped to their knees in prayer. Others sang songs about the world they were about to leave behind and the things that reminded them of home. But as the final moment drew near, one soldier recalled something rather odd. He was reminded of an image he had seen etched onto a dinner plate. It was a depiction of St. George, the patron saint of archers. It is said that St. George came to the aid of the British in the Battle of Agincourt during the 100 Years' War. And just underneath that image was an inscription that read, "May St. George be a present help to the English." The frightened soldier began to whisper this phrase over and over again. "May St. George be a present help to the English." And as he spoke those words, he was startled by a booming voice. "Hooray! Hooray! Hooray!" The soldiers looked up, and to their amazement, they saw a shadowy line of what appeared to be longbowmen just beyond their trenches. The bowmen pulled, aimed, and all at once, released. The apparition stunned the German troops. The sun went dark, and a deadly rain of arrows fell upon them. The lull in the action gave the British soldiers enough time to clear the battlefield and escape certain defeat. The assault by the mighty German army had been repelled. Upon examination of the bodies, there were no marks left on the men by the arrows. But despite the setback, the German army regrouped and continued their relentless march towards Paris. And although Mons was lost, the soldiers considered the battle to be a victory. Some would even go on to tell the tale of the longbowmen, who, in their darkest hour, had come to save them. A few weeks later, a story entitled "The Bowmen" by journalist Arthur Macon was published in the London Daily News. The story about the amazing encounter with its miraculous outcome quickly spread throughout Britain, boosting national morale. The publication created controversy, as it was never released as fiction. Many questioned the validity of the story, claiming that the divine intervention was nothing more than a hoax. But in a sense, the event was insignificant compared to what came out of it. It provided hope for countless people who had to endure the lasting effects of a brutal war that no one could have ever imagined. So whether the story is about an actual event or a contrived legend, it doesn't really matter. We still remember the angels of Mons.